My daughter, Chloe, needed a $30,000 specialized treatment for a rare respiratory condition. Without it, she would be tethered to an oxygen tank for the rest of her life. I was a single mother working 2 jobs, and my insurance had just denied the claim, calling it elective. I went to my Aunt Eleanor's estate. She had made millions in the pharmaceutical industry and was currently hosting a lavish garden party for the who's who of the city. When I finally cornered her in her private study, she didn't even put down her champagne flute. "I can't help you, darling," Eleanor said, checking her reflection in a gold-rimmed mirror. "I've just committed $50,000 to the Save the Historical Fountains Foundation. Besides, struggle is the best teacher. If I give you the money, Chloe will grow up thinking the world owes her a handout. This hardship will build the grit she needs to succeed." My cousin, Eleanor's daughter, smirked from the doorway. "Mum's right. We're about legacy here, not charity. Maybe try a second mortgage." I left the estate feeling like I was suffocating. As I reached my rusted sedan, my grandpa Silas, Eleanor's older brother, was waiting for me. Silas lived in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment and spent his days fixing old clocks. He handed me a weathered leather pouch. "I sold my shop, honey," he whispered. "And the collection. All the antique watches I've spent 40 years restoring. It's only $6,000, but please, take it." I sobbed, knowing those clocks were his entire life's work. But Silas didn't know that I had left my phone's voice memo app running on the desk during my meeting with Eleanor. I didn't get the $30,000 from Eleanor. I got it from a viral Expose the Elite thread. I uploaded the audio of Eleanor claiming that a child's ability to breathe was a lesson in grit, while she spent 50 grand on literal fountains. The public backlash was a Category 5 hurricane. Her board of directors, terrified of the PR nightmare, ousted her within a week. Her legacy foundation collapsed as every donor pulled out to distance themselves from her cruelty. The reckoning. 1 year later, Chloe was running through the park, her lungs clear and strong. We were celebrating at the new house I had bought with the remainder of the trust fund established by the public. A beat-up taxi pulled into the driveway. Eleanor and her daughter stepped out, looking haggard and dressed in clothes that were clearly from a clearance rack. They didn't even have their luggage, just a few plastic bags. "We lost the estate," Eleanor croaked, her eyes red. "The lawsuits from the board stripped us of everything. We're being evicted from our apartment tomorrow. We're family, please. We just need a place to stay until we can find work." I looked over at the porch. Grandpa Silas was sitting in a rocking chair, wearing a brand new suit. Behind him was a state-of-the-art workshop I had built for him, filled with more antique clocks than he'd ever owned in his life. I looked back at Eleanor and leaned against the doorframe. "I'd love to help, Eleanor," I said, my voice as steady as a heartbeat. "But I'm worried that if I give you a place to stay, you'll never learn the value of the struggle. This hardship, this is your best teacher. It's going to build so much grit in you both." "You can't be serious," her daughter cried. "We have nowhere else to go." "We're about legacy here, not charity," I replied, throwing her own words back at her. "Maybe try a second mortgage on that fountain you loved so much." I closed the door and locked it. Through the window, I watched Chloe laugh as she chased Grandpa Silas around the yard. They wanted me to learn a lesson about responsibility, and I did. I learned exactly who was worth saving.